All right, we are running again. We are sailing with gravity again. All right, we are back, and I am now here to talk about the core game mechanics of my little space pirate game. I can sit and talk about the lore, and I probably will do some more lore videos as we go along. But just to kind of get this out there so that people can look at it, confirm my ideas or disprove my ideas or whatever the case may be. I just want to get it out there and talk about it and see what people think about my designs and go from there. So the first thing we're going to talk about is actually I should probably do this first is throw out my handy dandy droid cam, and voila, we have a bunch of dice that we can now use. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. I don't think it's anything special, but hey, I don't get to do this very often, so deal. Be happy with me. Anyways, as I mentioned before, I am making a D12 system. It's going to be very similar to Open D6 in terms of you are going to be rolling a number of these, which is going to be determined by an attribute and a skill combination. Maybe just an attribute if the DM, or I should say that DM game master is going to, or GM is going to require just certain things here and there. Most of the time, it's going to be an attribute plus skill, which is a number somewhere between, 1 to 15 is what I'm generally designing everything through. I may break that cap. It just depends on how things feel. But what you do is you're going to get a number of these, and we're just going to put a bunch in here, and I'm going to leave one of them be this color, and we'll go over that, why I do that in a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and roll these real quick, and what we're looking for on here is going to be anything higher than a 7. So we have a 9, a 12, another 12, and that's a 6. So in this case, we have 3 successes, and we're just counting everything higher than a 12 as a success. This means that, the more dice you roll, the more successes you have. Generally speaking, you want to have as many successes as you possibly can. The scale of target numbers goes from 1 success up to 11. At the moment, I might switch that up for a more Fibonacci sequence where it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 13 for things. But at the moment, regular increments seems to be the standard, and I'm going to stick with that until I find something differently. So, we're just counting successes. And the reason why I ended up doing this, in my mind, when I first did this with D6s and had everything counted in math, adding a number or adding all the numbers took a little bit extra time, and it kind of took a little bit away from the moment, and I wanted to put that back in there. And so it's a lot funner, it's more fun to count things than it is to add things, at least in my mind. And I feel this is better. And again, as I mentioned in my previous video, it used to be a D6, which is fun to roll D6s. I have a lot of fun playing Warhammer. I had a lot of fun playing Shadowrun, which is a pile of D6s. But one thing I was noticing when I was rolling these, and I had a couple other people come around and roll dice with me, we were discussing it, and it just seems that D12 is a little bit more fun. You have the same probability for those mathematicians out there who are looking at it. D12s have a very similar probability on them. D6s have a 16.66 probability to hit any of the sides. They're all equal because it is a platonic die, one of the originals, and so is a D12. The only difference is that this has double the sides, which means that you take the probability and cut it in half. So really, I believe we have 8.33% to probably hit any of the sides, and it's equal all sides. The other thing I had on here is that, like, with the most successes from the games that I played, 4, 5, and 6 are generally what we're looking for on things. Here, I'm looking for 7 to 12, which is like a 50% chance that you're going to get a success on a single die. Whether that's going to count for things moving forward, or well, whether that's going to be cool to do it that way, or if it's better to have a 4 to 12 or a 5 to 12, we're going to end up playing around with it. But I did want to make sure that I put into the game mechanics, which I think I have that over here on my sheet here. Do I have it on here? Dice pool, wild die. Here we go. If you want to have it a little bit more epic and awesome, and like have an easier time with it, and give people more of that heroic mode, you can do 5 to 12, which works out great. If you want to have more harsh survival mode, I suggested 9 through 12, which adds a little bit more grit to it. Means that you're surviving by the skin of your teeth. You're not getting there as easily as possible. I also added in here cosmic anomalies, where like you can change up whichever numbers you want to have as a success based on the rules and the time, space, wherever you are in the galaxy. Maybe you're going through a wormhole and the rules don't apply. So you want to have something to reflect that and make the players feel 15 degrees off normal is what I was shooting for. So I have that as an optional rule in there. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. It's just there for you to be there. So anyways, we're just working off of successes. I'm already at 7 minutes talking about this. Holy crap. I wanted to keep all these down to 10 minutes. I guess I'm going to have to split this up. Anyways, the other thing on the dice to make sure that we're all on the same page here is the wild die. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I had picked out this one for a very specific reason. One of the dice, whenever you roll them, is going to be considered a wild die, which means it has an extra rule applied to it. Whenever you roll a 12 on the die, you get to count it count it as a success and then re-roll it. So if I roll the 12 on this one, I would be able to count in one success. So in our little outline here, let's just say we have 4 successes. We counted this one as a success, but I get to take that additional wild die, roll it again, and see what happens. In this case, I didn't roll another 1, but let's just say, or another success. Let's just say I rolled a 10 instead. That means I had 5 from before because the wild die was re-rolled, but with this one I have 6. So a really cool operation there. And you can keep rolling dice, or re-rolling the dice, as long as you keep hitting that 12. And if you get like 5 rolls, well, I don't say 5 rolls, but like, you can just keep going as you go on. Now, the downside, though, is that if you roll a 1, as you've seen that this die has a slight proclivity to do, you end up with a complication if you still succeeded, if you had enough successes in the first place to break or meet or beat the target number. You have a weird complication. Maybe you shoot the guy, but your gun jams. You manage to run across the entire room, but you trip. Or you sprain your ankle or something else like that. In a more combat sense. Or maybe you get the deal, but the guy bans you from the shop. That kind of stuff can happen. If you don't have enough successes to pass the test, though, it's a critical failure at that point, at which point in time the GM gets to do crazy things with you. You failed critically. It's kind of like rolling 1 in other systems where you only roll 1 die, and as the D20 systems, they tend to go with that. It doesn't mean it's an automatic failure, but it does mean that it adds some weird things. Now, if you noticed, when I make believe that I rolled the 12 on here, and then I rolled it, and I rolled another 1, that means I still get that complication because I still rolled a 1 on there. It doesn't matter when the 1 appears. It only matters that it appears. So it adds a little bit more chaos to the universe. It adds a little bit more. It adds a fail state basically to it all, and really in my mind, failure is much more fun than successes sometimes, and complications add quirky things to, or add new narrative things, because nothing ever goes the way you plan it. So, yeah, that is the core of the system there. I already explained. I already got. I should have mentioned critical successes since I mentioned critical failures. If you break the target number by more than 5 or more, it's called a critical success. And in my mind, that means you give the narrative control to the player, and they get to tell the rest of the group what exactly happens. Now, I could see that being lowered down to 3, because 5 is kind of a hard number to reach. But I want to have a value there that like gives the player the control. And again, it's like rolling a d20, rolling a 20 on a d20, and giving. Having that boombastic kind of thing. So if they like in combat say, "Hey, I'm just going to want to deal double damage," they can deal double damage. Double. I can't speak for crap. Anyways, they speak double. They deal double damage. They deal double damage in that. If they want to do that in combat. I'm sure there's like things like, oh, hey, I want to kill the guy, and the DM's going to be like, or the GM's going to be like, no, you can't do that for whatever reason. It's just kind of things. I suppose I might as well just finish this off with the rolling mechanics in general. I do have a advantage and disadvantage. It makes the life of the GM just a little bit easier when it comes to to adding and subtracting like target numbers here and there. I may just eliminate this altogether. I like it in this sense. I like a little bit of an addition I added on here called locking it in that I want to share with you, and you can let me know what you think. So for advantage and disadvantage is exactly probably how you think about it. Is if you get advantage, you get to roll your pool twice and take the better result. If you are at disadvantage, you roll your pool twice and take the worst advantage, or the worst result. So, it just depends on what the scenario is. The trick is with the wild die. Now, the way I wrote it is that if you roll your dice and you count all your successes, so in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. That was nice. Let's just say we got a 12 here. We're going to roll that again, see where we get. We got a second success off of this. That means we have 2. Now, what I can decide to do, instead of just re-rolling it and see what happens, is I can say, hey, I'm going to keep those 2 successes from my wild die and transfer them over to the next roll. So let's just say we're doing that. We're going to leave that over to the side because we're locking it in. And we're going to roll these dice again and see what happens. We have a 9, an 11, and that's it. So we would essentially have 4 successes on here on the second roll because we locked the 2 from here in, and then we have the 2 from this roll. Now, if we wanted to do disadvantage, we can do a similar thing. Let's just roll this again. And we have a 1 here, which means we have a complication, but we have to roll it. We could say, hey, we're not going to lock it in, so we're going to roll again. And my box is moving. I should have taped it down. So we have this success here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So we had to take the first roll, which in this case had a 1 on it. So you would have to take the complication from that. So let's just say we roll this again, roll this here. Oh, and I roll a 12. Yeah. So happy about that it goes on command. I should probably command it more often. Alright, so we have an 8, a 12, and a 12. The 12 here we're going to roll a second time. And we got a complication set up here. So, for the sake of things, we're just going to lock this in. So we got one success and a complication. And then we're just going to reroll all these dice. We had a grand total of 3 successes and a complication. And then here, oh boy, we got nothing on that one. That's fun. So, in this case, we had one success. We're just going to count this one here. Oh, jeez, I didn't realize how spooky my camera was. Ah! You're not allowed to peek. Why did I play with that? Why did I play with that? Anyways, we have the one die here that has the one, or that counts as a single success and a 1 on the second roll, which means we have to take that on the second roll. It's the worst one. So it's even, it might not work out great for the whatever roll that was for. So, yeah, that's my mechanics there. Hopefully I explained it in a fun, at least funny, concise manner. Let me know what you guys think of this mechanic down in the lower part, and let me know who's going to be captain, first mate, and who's the rest of the crew. So basically, who commented first, who commented second, and then the rest of you guys are all crew. Good luck. But otherwise, like and subscribe. Make sure you follow me here, and keep yourself updated on Notorious and how things are going. So talk to you later. Bye.